Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Yahweh being the true name for the Heavenly Father, Yahushai being the name for His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Jesus Christ. I want to give double honors to our apostles, double honors to our elders, a great millstone that taught us just truth and rule well, and salutations to you, hopeful elect, listeners, truth and honesty and sincerity. This is Brother Yahweh coming out of the spirit power Yahweh from Yahushai. And this lesson is coming into to the spirit. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the world, as far as the love of many waxing cold. And this lesson is going into a big reason for divorce, and to edify you on the mental trauma that can come as a consequence for choosing to marry a wicked woman in Babylon, in America. Okay, now this applies to the wicked women. Now it's very rare to find a woman that doesn't do the things that is going to be brought out in this lesson. So there's those elect women, this lesson doesn't really apply to them. This women is this lesson is to speak against the women that are evil, and there's so many of them out there that do not seek your welfare. Okay, so I want to get right into it, man. It's the book of Ecclesiastes 25 and 26. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go. Okay, so she doesn't go the way that is your order that you're trying to establish that's in righteousness according to scriptures of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You gotta let her go. This is why this law was put into there. Now, Yahushua clarified this. So he said from the beginning it was not so, but for the hardness of your hearts, Moses allowed you to divorce, basically, roughly paraphrasing. But he says, Yahushua gives it specifically. He says, save cause fornication is your justification that you can put them away. This is a part of the fornication. Okay, fornication, to fornicate, is not talking about having marital or not having sex before you're married. That's not what fornication is. Fornication means to go away from the law, statutes, and commandments. And there's law, statutes, and commandments that a woman is to submit to her husband in everything. She's to be in order. Okay? And when she's doing things that's extremely out of order, and she's gadding abroad, dressing promiscuous, not following any of your structure, your rules, your guidance that you set, not wrapping her hair up, talking to other men, taking company with other men, she might be trying to go out and dance with other men and stuff like that, and do all this gadding abroad, man. Not keepers at home, not cooking, not cleaning, not taking care of the kids, not catering to you, not giving you any sex, being extremely disrespectful, becoming abusive towards you. I'm talking about verbally, emotionally, physically, doing things that cause you extreme stress and harm on a regular basis. Those are all things that the woman is breaking the law. She's committing fornication when she chooses to do these things. Oh, and then above all, adultery, actually going to have sex and lay with other men, and trying to date around and keeping the company of other men. Those are all fall under the category of fornication. But the actual act of sex itself, that's adultery, and that type of sin is punishable by death. And if it's a woman that came into this truth, that's been with you, that got the name of the Lord, and you accepted her as your wife, and she knows better, and she chooses to make that decision to go and let another man in, she eventually will get death, because she was baptized. A lot of women, you coming into this thing, you didn't know. You were committing adultery, being in the world, thinking that you had the authority to go have multiple men. And then you come into the truth and you repent from it, and you're supposed to never do it again. But you got women that have to get put away or separated, in the truth, and they make the decision to go and do that. So they eventually will be met with some form of death, whether it be the missiles or more than likely something gonna happen to them even before that point. You know, because there's certain commandments that you break that you just can't do. The Lord ain't gonna play with that, man. So um, what I want to speak on is an article. It's called trauma bonding, and this is a weapon that a wicked woman will use. And some of them, they don't even know that it's a thing. They just naturally are this way, but they didn't plan out to do these things. But this is how they are because they're wicked. Okay, though you men, you got to watch it when you choose to marry a woman on the side because you're gonna go through trauma. Okay, trauma. All right. What does it mean to be trauma bonded to someone? We're gonna go in what a trauma bond is. Okay, it says a trauma bond is an attachment that develops from a cycle of physical and or emotional trauma followed by positive reinforcement. Okay, so women that are wicked that you might be with, you're gonna go through. You can go through some traumatic experiences, especially dealing with the Israelite woman that has the curses on her, the so-called black woman. Okay, the so-called Latino, the so-called Native American woman. A lot of them have had relationships repeatedly that have been in domestic violence. A lot of them have a sexual a lust, a fetish of a man roughing them up, smacking them around, because that's what they've been in repetitive relationships that are toxic. A man should not have to get to the point he's that angry to where he has to do something like that to a woman to try to keep her in order. That's not how women were molded to do, to create that type of anger. But women have such demons on them. Some of them are really have a big fetish with that shit, man. And I had a woman that I was with, man, and it got there, you know, and she told me, hey, she said that turned her on. I was like, what kind of sick shit? It was a traumatic, event for me. It really was something that was out of self-defense. It wasn't something that was just initiated by me. My anger was out of self-defense. I'm trying to get this woman out of my face, get her off of me so I can leave, you know. And the way I reacted in that moment, she got turned on by it. And that's wrong, man. A man should not have to do those things for a woman to be in order. It's a demon because that type of stuff will get you locked up, man. You can't do shit like that because they cherry pick and choose, on when they have your back. So a lot of them they'll record you on that shit and try to set you up to get you thrown to jail and prison, man. And then you got a criminal record on you that follows you for the rest of your life. It's not worth it. Trauma. They'll be screaming and hollering in your face, slamming shit, breaking shit, scratching you up, cussing you out, belittling you. Nigga, you ain't shit. Or I'm gonna get another nigga. This and they'll say the worst of the worst, what they can think of that comes in their mouth. That every evil thought will come out. Okay, and then they follow it up with positive reinforcement. They try to give you some sex or a box to get you to calm down and get over the unforgivable shit that they just said and did. Okay, that's when you get the initial stages of trauma bonding being created. When you're in an abusive relationship with these women are abusive. For society, for the longest time, they have pinpointed and posterized a man as being these abusers that just drink and they just beat their women. No, man. These women are abusive in their own way. When it comes to emotional and mental abuse, they're masters at it. And what it does is it can break a man down till he'll snap and he might get physical because men, we're physical. We're warriors. So a certain level of pain will take a man there, and he might put his hands on a woman, and what happens? He just got all this abuse that he had to deal with. He reacted in a natural way, which he's going to react, and then he ends up in jail. He ends up getting his kids taken away. And she gets to reap the benefit to go and get another him in a minute. Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute. And she goes spit her nasty, funky twat for multiple other men, and then the cycle continues. Do it to that man. Do it to that man. He snapped, beat the shit out of her. He catches a case with her. And once he's used up and his case is done, you know, she goes on to the next one and the next one and the next one. Okay? This is trauma bonds, all right? And they're hard to shake, man. You know, this is why it's, you know, Paul goes into it, and we'll bring it out. But I want to read a little bit more of this. It says, trauma bonds mostly commonly develop in romantic relationships, and leaving these relationships can be very hard. When a person experiences emotional or physical abuse trauma, it is hard to process the feelings. It can be especially confusing when an abuser acts kind or loving afterward. Right, man? You got some women that's like this. You know, there's some men that do the shit to the women. I'm not gonna cap, you know. But this is lessons mainly focusing on, you know, the women, because women's are really the masterminds with this shit. Okay. And, you know, it'll get confusing because kind or loving afterward. They'll come extremely apologetic. They may come with a lot of, you know, gifts and stuff like that. And like I said, men do the shit too. You know, right? Do they get done after they get done with the abuse? You know, you try to go have this hardcore sex, makeup and shit. Oh, I'm so sorry. I won't do this again. Oh, I love you. I love you. And they get over flattering with all types of compliments. Oh, you're so great. You're this and that. I love you. I done had women even tell me, hey, you're my Lord. You know, after getting the man to that point, doing all of that, man, you feel worshipped, and it's a good feeling, because women, you are supposed to worship your man. He's the Lord over you. But you're not supposed to give him abuse and then give that. No. Okay. It says, how does trauma bonding work? When a person experiences abuse, whether it be emotional abuse or physical, it can be a tough process. It can be tough to process the emotions that come along with it and cope. With trauma bonding, one person abuses the other, inflicting trauma, but follows with positive reinforcement. You know, they may go and just buy you something real expensive. You know, spend money. And it comes with a price tag, because the minute you get fed up with the trauma, they're going to say, give me that shit back. I want it back. You know, they try to make you dependent on that. So in order to continue to get things, you know, from them, you have to accept the trauma and the abuse that they give you. It's a sick game, man. It's sick. It says, for the other person, these traumatic experiences bring up a wide array of complicated emotions that can be difficult to cope with. As a result, a person might start to feel bonded to the abusive person. They start to build an emotional attachment because they convince themselves it is love. Right? They think, oh, well, I can go through all this with this individual, but we're still there with each other. And they confuse it. That's love. That's not love, man. That's evil and that's wicked. Okay? Hard to shake them, right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes 7:26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Right, man. Hey, what we're reading about with this trauma bond shit, that's that heart being snares and nets. Okay? And it's very traumatic for men because they get a baby by these women, you know, thinking that that's going to be, you know, something that's going to bring the family closer together, hoping they'll be changed. There's no fucking change in these wicked women, man. So just leave them alone. Don't do it, man. And I'm speaking from experience. It says, whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Right, the sinner. So you'll hear of the men that they've been with, and you'll hear how some of them are completely destroyed. Oh, he did this, he did that. Yeah, he's got a case behind this. He's locked up. And they tell you that to think that he was just such a terrible person, that he deserved X, Y, and Z. She got his kids. She gets custody of them, right? Hey, that's the sinner got taken by her. So they fall for the full force of judgment from the Lord because they are wicked men. A wicked man is given to a wicked woman. So, the sinners, they'll fall victim to 100% to this shit, man. They'll be locked up in prison for years. Caught a case behind this bitch. Not seeing their kids at all. But a man of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, who pleases Yahweh will escape that woman. And he'll bring judgment upon her. But yet you're still gonna suffer. You still might have sufferings behind the bullshit that she did. Especially having a child with the woman. It can be difficult to see your child. You got brothers still fighting to see their children, man. But if you please Yahweh, you shall escape from her, and He's gonna give you your seeds back, man. You gotta have faith in that, in due time, because you're pleasing the Lord. But a lot of these sinners that be with these wicked sinning women, they're not so lucky. So if you please in the Lord, eventually He's gonna break that traumatic, toxic relationship with that demon ass woman. He's gonna break it up because she belongs to a wicked man, and they'll both fall into a ditch together, man. That's how that works. This is the book of Proverbs 21 and 19. It's better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. What does contentious mean? Let's get the definition out for contentious. Okay. It says causing or likely to cause an argument, controversial, involving heated argument. So it's an argumentative ass woman over everything she can get an argument about, and she won't quit. She won't stop. Keep going and going and going like an Energizer bunny, man. But instead of him beating that drum, she's beating you. She's beating you with the fucking abuse, the trauma bond, the disrespect, screaming, calling you out your name, all types of hell, man. Taking your child from you, stealing your stuff, busting the windows out your car, trying to pop your tires. This shit is all traumatic, man. Ecclesiastes 25 and 22. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impotence, and much reproach. All right, so part of the curses, man, is that eventually your woman's going to try to leave you, commit adultery on you, and be a harlot in the city. So the longer you with him, the longer you're married to him and dealing with him, the more it's building up of her anger and demons building up on her to come against you if she's wicked. But for the most part, man, it's a very large percentage. I want to say almost probably damn near 85, 90% of these women out here are going to be like this. So it's better to do what? This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. See? Just to avoid it altogether, man. I mean, if you could bear it, but as men, we have desires. We're supposed to have multiple wives, supposed to have concubines, so that urge is going to kick in, man. And if you have to meet that urge, it's best to just deal with a concubine. And focus on the other nations, because a lot of the Israelite women, they got them curses following them. So it's a dime and a dozen to find a righteous one. Our price is far above rubies. Who can find a virtuous woman, the scriptures say. So the chances of you finding or coming across an Israelite woman that's gonna be in order is damn near none, no chance. So to save you the headache, the stress, it's better just to deal with some concubines until the times that, comes where Isaiah 4 and 1 is going to kick in. 7 women going to 1 man. And then that's when you might have that's when you'll have some sincere Israelite woman. They got to get hit with all terror and destruction before them to get right. A lot of them, man. And some of them are already right, and they're watching, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, behind closed doors. And shalom to you sisters that are doing that, Then they'll be paired up with righteous man. But for the most part, as of right now in this time, man, it is not time to be trying to look for a wife, man. Verse 2 says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, okay, which you commit fornication if you sleep with a woman that's married, okay, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband, right? So if you feel like you're getting too wild or out of control to the point to where you're about to commit fornication, to avoid that, you can have your own wife, but you got to have enough willpower right now as a man, especially prophets. Speaking of you prophets, man, don't even focus on that right now. You got time for all that. It says, verse 3, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and also the wife unto the husband, right? So not depriving one another. Okay. It says the wife have not power of her own body, but the husband. Likewise, also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife, right? So this is talking about, the constant nourishment of marriage, which is sex. Sex equals marriage. And that comes from an Israelite man deciding that he's going to make 100% commitment to a woman and call her his wife, and he lays his rod in her, she becomes his wife. Now, in the ancient world, that was only possible if she was a virgin. Okay, so nowadays, men, you really don't have no wives. Because over here in America, how many virgins are there? Slim to none, man. Just a bunch, basically they're middle school age girls, that's it. Nowadays, the middle school age girls, they sleeping with the middle school age boys and stuff in there, they losing their virginities. By the time they get to high school, they done had, 10 plus boys already. So how do you get wives nowadays? Well, scriptures talk about that as well. Remember the account, he says he bought her with a piece of barley, and basically gave her some food and said, go play the harlot no more. You're going to be my wife. Nowadays, that's how people get married, man. It's not no contractual, lawfully ordained minister pronouncing husband and wife. That's not in the scriptures, man. It's sex, okay? Verse 5, it says, defraud ye not one another, except it be with consent for a time. So don't stop the act of coming together, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. Okay, let's look up this precept here. Get the definition here for that. Okay, so having or showing lack of self-restraint or control. Okay, so you might lose control and consider, women mainly consider going to be with another man, commit adultery. You can't defraud each other for too long. It's gotta be for a short time. Okay, this is talking about separation right here. This is the lawful separation. And when you are separated, it's supposed to be fasting and prayer. And that's going to be set up and orchestrated by the man. He runs the show. So if he says you got to be separated for 30 days, 40 days, 50, 60, however it be, then that's what it is. That's what the consent for a time. It says, verse 6, but I speak this by permission and not of commandment. For I would that all men were even as I myself, which Paul decided to just not deal with women at all. That's what he's referring to. But every man hath his proper gift of Yahweh, one after his manner and another after that. So It means that everybody can't handle that. But if we could be like Paul, then we should be like Paul. Okay? Verse 9 says, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but Yahweh, let not the wife depart from her husband. So a wife is not supposed to go leave and go be with another man. Okay? Verse 11, but, and if she depart, let her remain unmarried. So she got to stay single. She can't even entertain no man, no dates, no shit. Not no waiting patiently for another man, Prince Charming, to come sweep her off her feet and she can try it again. No, man. You just got to stay unmarried. Or be reconciled to her husband. And let not the husband put away his wife. So women, if you're listening, if this is you, if you've been put away because you got way crazy out of order, or whatever reason that man had to put you away. Okay, if he put you away, for reasons outside of, you sleeping with another man, you just way out of order, you got to deal with being separated, and you can't be touched at all. And your whole goal is to get him back, is to get back with your husband. So you got to do everything that he told you to do, whatever it is, to fix it. And you got to give whatever time he said that time needs to be. Then that's what it's to be. You got to deal with it. And you better pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that he brings you back to that man. And you get in repentance, and you better learn, because the times are getting scary, man. It's not the time to be getting fucking put away when all hell about to break loose. Okay? Verse 12, but to the rest speak I, not Yahweh. If any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. So Paul's speaking here. He said this wasn't an order from Yahweh, but he said, if you have a wife and she don't believe in, the Lord, the Israelite thing, whatever, but she be pleased to dwell with them, and she take care of them, she's doing things that the wife's supposed to do, you just keep her, man. Okay? But she has to be doing the things the wife's supposed to do. And be pleased to dwell with them. It says, and the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. Right? So women, if you have a man that doesn't believe in the truth, you can't leave him. And the scriptures also say if a woman learn anything, it's supposed to learn from her husband at home. So if you do come across the truth, you got it. Your job is just to point the finger to these videos and have him watch it. Now, if he gives you permission to watch these lessons, that's your husband's order, then cool, you can watch it. But you're not supposed to be learning from any other man. So keep that in mind. Keep it short and simple. If you are watching lessons, if he's allowing you to, he should be sitting there watching them with you. And if he's not approving of it, you're just going to have faith in the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and pray and just continue to submit and serve to him. And you'll get delivered, and he could get delivered along with you, man. That's how that works. Okay? But going back, into this article here, okay? The abuse. All right? It says, as a result, a person might start to feel bonded to the abusive person. They start to build an emotional attachment because they convince themselves it is love. They tell themselves that their partner was just upset, that they will change, or think of them as the person that they were before the abuse happened. Right? You flashback of the good times, the good moments, and you try to hold on to those, and then go ahead and push to the side the bullshit that just happened to you. And you can't do that, man. You got to let that shit go. Let that person go, what I'm saying. Okay? That they will change, you keep convincing yourself, okay, I can change them. I can change them. Men, don't be trying to, if you're a man in the truth, prophesying, don't be trying to teach your woman the truth, man. She don't get saved off their knowledge of the truth. She needs to know the law, statutes, commandments, Know the name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and that's really it, because she's going to get saved off of serving you, off of being a wife, not by being a super knowledgeable scholar in the scriptures like you. You know? Because some of them think, oh, well, if I share the truth with her, maybe that'll make her change. No, man. Knowing the truth not going to get them saved. Knowing the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is part of it. Yeah, they do need to know that. They do need to know the law, statutes, and commandments. But don't get caught up in that, man. Overly convincing yourself that you can change a woman. No, you can't change these damn demons, man. It says they get stuck in a cycle of abuse and positive reinforcement, constantly returning to the person even though they know that they are being treated wrong. Right, so you got brothers, man, being in these toxic ass relationships, vexed as hell, broke down. I mean, really broke down, crying, damn near having heart attacks over this bullshit these women do to us. And then a couple months later, fucking took the damn bitch back, man. And it goes on and on over the years. You deal with her, gotta fucking put her away. You get fucked up. Some traumatic ass shit happened. And then after the traumatic ass shit happened, a couple months go by, sometimes weeks, sometimes it's just a couple days, and the motherfucker's right back around, man. If this is a cycle that keeps happening, I mean, do what your business is. You got to run your household the way you deem fit. But it's better just to leave her alone altogether, man. Give her that bill of divorcement and let her go. Let her go be to a wicked man. It's up to her. If she got to be let go, it's up to her whether or not she going to go be with another wicked man, or she going to focus on her wicked ass ways and change. And you as a man got to uphold that time to allow that change to happen. Okay? How do trauma bonds start? Often at the beginning of a relationship. It says, often at the beginning of a relationship, it may seem very loving, affectionate, and passionate. Right? It seems real good. With these type of people that are toxic, they're the best partners of any other partners in the beginning. Like, they just got it all on point. They're doing everything that makes you happy. It seems like they're perfect. And that's where you start falling in love with them, because they go over the top of trying to, please you, because they know they have a lot to make up for. So they feel if they can shower you with all these gifts, all this worship, that you have to be willing to deal with the trauma that comes with them. And you don't need to deal with that, man. Okay? It says at the start, it can be hard to believe that your partner would do anything to hurt you. At some point, emotional, physical, or psychological abuse occurs. It is hard to process, and the abuser often tries to talk their way out of it and manipulate their partner into thinking that they love them, that they will change, and that it will never happen again. Right, man? The biggest part is that they will change. You're thinking they're going to change, man. Oh, I'm changing. I am changing. I got better, I stopped doing this. I did this, they just changed the abuse in a different way of abusing it and said that they changed it. No, man, you didn't change shit. The same person, man. It says this can confuse the other person, but they believe them because they hope it will get better, right? Because it's so good in the beginning, or the times that you do have are so good, you have an enormous amount of hope, and you're looking at the potential. Oh man, this woman or this man would be a good potential, this potential. Nah, man. Okay? You have to come to acceptance that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. All right? And what did Yahweh Shai refer to as women when a woman came up begging him for help? He says, not meet to give children's bread unto dogs. He referred to her as a bitch, man. And that's how we are rough when speaking on these wicked women. If you don't like it, go to another channel. I'm just going to keep it straightforward, man. Tell the truth. Because y'all ain't right, man. says this is how trauma bonds start. It becomes a cycle where the abuser keeps doing the same thing but follows with positive reinforcement, giving their partner empty promises and convincing them that they love them, only for it to happen again and again. So it continues to do you wrong over and over and over again, man. This is her hearts, man. As snares as nets, as bands. I'll read that again. Ecclesiastes 7:26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Right. So these wicked niggas that they go deal with after you, they get taken by the shit. They end up in jail or dead, you know, never seeing their kids again and shit. All types of stuff. Living a lifestyle that they can't bounce back from, getting records. That's the future for them, you know, and you don't want to be a part of that. So you got to recognize these signs and learn when to leave these damn demons alone, man. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 25:13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Right, man. The plague of the heart, man. That's that trauma bond right there. You know, that it is painful. It's painful when you got to lose a woman or she commit adultery on you. It's the most hurtful thing you can feel, man. It's like losing a child. You know, so that's when the rage of a man kicks in. And they'll commit adultery real quick on you to really hit you hard in the heart. Because they want that reaction. And they're going to end up in life in prison, man. So they're not even worth it. It says, and give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. These are just one of many, many tools that label the wickedness of a woman. You know, you think about what goes on with these babies they do, the abortions. It's a big wickedness. Then you got the idols they worship, going against the lost statute commandments, trying to be above the man. As the list goes on, there's a lot of wickedness of the woman. But this lesson is going into one of the tools is the mental, trauma and trauma bonding that you can get from choosing to be married to a woman on the side. Okay. So I think I got all those precepts there. There's another one here. It's the book of Ecclesiastes 3:9. It says, for the blessing of the father establishes the houses of children, but the curse of the mother without foundations. Right? The independent woman mindset combined with, the trauma, the manipulation, the psychological warfare that they have against the Israelite man. These things combined break apart the house, causing big ass fights. You got to break up. You just had a baby with her, trying to start a family and do the right thing. Then the arguments come. They can never be satisfied with anything. Ungrateful, think they're above the men and think they just deserve to be worshipped and have the whole world and don't want to be in order and don't want to submit to a man. So the blessing of the fathers keeps the house together, but this curse is what roots out that foundation, man. The curse of the mother. This certainly is a part of the curse, man. So, Lord's will, man, this lesson is edifying. Check out this article, read it, man, so you can learn about it, I do want to cover this real quick, just so you know the 7. It says the 7 stages. These are just tools, man, that women use. These sick women. The ones that are real pretty too. Watch that. They do this shit. This is love bombing. Love bombing occurs at the beginning of a relationship and involves excessive flattery and praise for the partner. Okay? So giving you all sorts of compliments. You're this and that. Giving you too much. Hey, watch it. They're doing too damn much, man. It says a person tries to win over the other with grand gestures and overwhelming idea of love. I know you're the one for me. Oh, you do me like no other man has. You're the best I've ever had. You know, love bombing can make the victim trust the other person and let their guard down. They may even say, "Hey, look, I'll give you all my money. Here." Love bombing, man. Says for the abuser, it makes them seem to have good intentions and puts a positive idea of them in their victim's head. So they get a lot of trust. That's the next part. Trust and dependency. In this stage, the perpetrator will do almost anything to make their partner trust them. Here's my phone. Go all the way through it. You can trust me. They may give you the code to their security cameras and everything, man. Try to cover up from things that you really shouldn't trust them. But just try to gain this overwhelming sense of trust. They combine that with the love bombing. So that's going to give you a pretty good feeling. You start feeling really good behind that. That's a lot of dopamine levels that's been going up. If they're meant for each other, the abusive partner wants to make the other person think that they are meant for each other. This stage, along with love bombing, gives the victim an idea of the abuser, giving them hope for the future after the abuse happens, right? So they're going to remember all the good shit, this overwhelmingly good shit. Oh, there's hope though. No, man, you gotta know the warning signs, man. Okay? Think that you're meant for each other. Hey, there's no such thing as nobody's meant for each other, man. I mean, yeah, every man's, Lord might bless them. It's not every man, but some men with a wife. It really just comes down to the woman, how they're raised. You know, if they're raised how they're supposed to be feminine, submissive, respectful, modest, it's gonna work. It had nothing to do with meant for somebody. No, man. Okay, yeah, the Lord's got some women reserved for certain men, but in this time, are you about to find that? Probably not. Criticism. After they have gotten a person's trust, the abuser will start to pick apart their partner with the intention of making them feel negative about themselves. So Kevin Samuel spoke on this the best, man. Insults, shaming tactics, making you feel guilty. You ain't shit. You just a fat ass bitch, or you a pussy, or you skinny ass weak ass boy, or you bum ass nigga. You ain't got no money. That type of shit. Fuck you, you pussy. You raising pussy ass kids, they're gonna be like you, pussy. There you go. That's that criticism. Trying to make you feel really negative and down to destroy your self-confidence and self-esteem. And look at them, and that's the best you're gonna be able to get is that motherfucker that's saying all that shit to your face. Meanwhile, there is a woman that could be around the corner, man. Hey, she gonna serve you and cook for you and rub your feet and never treat you like that. Gaslighting. So it's a form of psychological abuse that makes the victim question reality. They shift the blame on the other person. You're the cause of me reacting this way on you. It's you. They don't never take accountability. They make you feel like and convinced it's your fault, that you caused everything. And you start questioning yourself, what could I have done better to stop her from reacting this way? Resignation and submission. At this point, the target of abuse doesn't know what to believe and gives in to avoid conflict. So you start finding yourself just accepting the bullshit that they do to you. The little shit that would normally set you off that's completely unacceptable, you take some of it and keep quiet and just keep dealing with it. That's another stage, man. Don't want to escalate things and make things worse. It says they may, over time, this person becomes more dependent and reliant on the abuser to please them and avoid more conflict. They may have children with their partners, get married, and depend on them financially. Right, man. They start accepting them giving some money, every month to take care of things. End up getting a child with them, getting married. I mean, this shit's hitting a nail on the head, man. It says they don't want to escalate things or make things worse, and it seems that their only choice is to do what makes their partner feel good, right? Only choice is just fucking give them what makes them happy. You know? These are all signs, man, of a person you need to walk away from permanently. Loss of self. When a person is in a trauma bond, it breaks down their confidence and sense of self. They become disconnected, isolated, and at a loss when it comes to their self-identity. So they start, isolating themselves. I don't want to fuck with nobody or anybody or anything, man. Over time, sometimes for years, feelings of shame build up and a person can't recognize who they are anymore. It can be very hard to move on from, right? So health start getting attacked, man. A lot of things start happening to you with your parents. You become upset at yourself. This gets bad, man. Addiction, the stage of trauma bonds most commonly end up in a cycle. After the abuse, the love bombing and positive reinforcement happens again, causing a sense of pleasure or satisfaction. A person essentially becomes addicted to this cycle, right? They keep getting addicted to the makeup sessions, and addicted to the positive times that come after the makeup, because it gets really, really good for a second, and then bam, the trauma happens and ruins it all, and you're back to square one. But you get addicted to that feeling of when it did get a little bit better. All these things is not normal, man. Okay? And this is why Paul said what he said. It's better than not even marry. Okay? There's another precept I want to get real quick. And then we'll close out. This is the book of 1 Corinthians 7:27. It says, "Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed. Art thou loose from a wife? Seek not a wife." There you have it, man. This is the massive amount of things that can happen when you choose to have a wife. Okay? And that's a lot. That's a lot, man. Let me see here. There was another part here. Yep. That's the next verse. The Spirit is right next. All I do is click next. It says, verse 28. It says, "But, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned." Right? So I don't want you to think that, oh, I made a wrong decision if you marry. I mean, yeah, you kind of fucked up a little bit, because you're going to have some very bad issues. If she's not one of the righteous women, which are very rare and hard to find, it's going to end up in divorce later on. But it says, "But if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you." There you go, man. You're going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble in the flesh right here. Okay? But the Lord, Paul's trying to give you a message from the Lord. He's trying to spare you from the headache. Seek not a wife. Seek not to be loosed if you got one. But if you don't have one, are you loosed? Did a breakup happen? Did you escape her bands? Then don't seek another wife. So with that, man, Lord's will, this lesson's edifying. It was a little long, but there's a lot of information I wanted to cover. It's important to get to understand the psychological part of it, as well as the spiritual, so you can have a better understanding. Where our brothers tell you, to move a certain way, on how not to get a wife right now. We seem like how we get hard on the women, we cuss them out, because this is in this information that you got. That should show you the warfare that you're dealing with when you're dealing with Eve, man. When you're dealing with Eve and the serpent in the garden, this is the bullshit that comes with it. So, Lord's will, you have a better understanding of it. So, with that, I'm going to close out. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Natasha's Truth and Will Well. And salutations to you, hopeful pushing this truth and our honesty and sincerity. Shalom.